You didn't know there's a place where Kentucky football and basketball fans unite. Welcome to Big Blue Breakdown. Whether you bleed blue or just love a good game, we've got the latest stories, hottest takes, and a whole lot of hometown pride. Hit play and join the conversation. This is your home for all things Kentucky sports.
Welcome in, everybody. Episode 76 here on the Big Blue Breakdown. I appreciate you guys coming here and listening, whether you guys are on YouTube or on Spotify. Help us out wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, you're subscribe, like, and comment, and share. That's the best way to help the channel grow. And then follow us on Spotify as well. It's the best way to help out the podcast. I appreciate you guys coming on here and listening to episode 76 here. In today's episode, we'll be previewing and predicting Kentucky versus Georgia. I will give you my keys for a win for the Cats, and then just my score prediction for this game. Again, I appreciate you guys coming here and listening to this one. If you haven't already, go check us out on social media, on TikTok, X, and Instagram. The ad is BigBlue_BDown. You're missing extra content if you don't do that. I appreciate you guys showing us some support over there as well. We're going to take a quick break here in this episode, tell you about our friends over at W Energy. Make sure to use code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off your order. We'll be right back here on the Big Blue Breakdown, and as soon as we get back, we'll be previewing and predicting this Kentucky versus Georgia game. Appreciate you guys tuning into this one, and we'll be right back here on the Big Blue Breakdown, episode 76. Hello, everybody. We wanted to take a break in this episode to tell you about our friends over at W Energy. W is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like any other energy drink. Some facts about W. Number one, it's zero sugar, artificial colors, or dyes, or hidden ingredients. It is also gluten-free. Number two, all flavors are unique and custom-made by W. You'll never taste anything like a W drink. Number three, the drinks are $1 less, guys. That is cheaper than Starbucks or any canned drink. Lastly, it is made in the U.S. It is close to home. Guys, if you guys are looking forward to going to a Kentucky football game or Kentucky basketball game and you need some energy, get W. W is the perfect thing for you working out and you need some energy. You need W. You need W throughout the day. It is for you. Use promo code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off every single order. Guys, it not only just helps you guys be able to have a clean energy drink that you can use all the time with the tubs that they give you. It helps me and it helps the channel keep growing. And with you guys, if you guys do that, it helps us post more content and helps them, guys. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. But thank you guys so much for your time here. Please go check out W. Check out their website. And when you are about to purchase something, use promo code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off your order. Alrighty, welcome back in, everybody, to episode 76 here. So let's go ahead and dive into this matchup between the Kentucky Wildcats playing at the Georgia Bulldogs. This game is tomorrow at 12 o'clock. It's at 11 local time at Georgia, so early kickoff here. Georgia's coming off a loss against Alabama. We've talked about this a lot here on the channel so far. They take their first loss of the year at home against Alabama. Georgia has an Alabama problem, and it's quite funny, personally, in my opinion. But this game's going to be really, really tough for the Cats to win. But let's go ahead and jump into my keys for a victory for the Kentucky Wildcats. Okay. 4 keys for a win for the Cats. And I know it's there. Anybody that says the Cats can win this football game, or have like, I don't want to say can win this football game, I want to say that are going to win this football game, are probably not telling the truth. I think Kentucky can win the football game. I do not think that they will, and that's going to lead into my prediction later. But if Kentucky were to pull off the upset, what's the best way and what's the most effective way I think that they could do that? Well, Kentucky has to have a big, fast start. We have to hit Georgia early. I'm not saying that if Kentucky does not do this, they won't be in the game and they won't have a chance to win. I'm just saying, realistically, if they're going to win this football game, they have to hit Georgia early and get up by 2 touchdowns or even more, because then you can control the tempo. Then you don't have to play from behind, which you're not good at. You're not built for that. You make them fight back in the game. You keep your foot on their throats for the whole game. You run the football. You control the clock for the entire game. Kentucky has to get up by 14 to 17 points, in my opinion, if they are going to win this football game. They have to have truly a fast start. And this really goes back to, and I want to give you 3 biggest stats here for this game. I'll throw this up here really quickly. 3 biggest stats for this game, and we went over this in the last episode where we really previewed this game and really broke everything down. But if you look here, first quarter, Georgia is overall 39th ranked in their points scored in the first quarter. Now, I couldn't find a number of how many points they give up in the first quarter, but I actually can do a little bit of math on this, which I know not the definitely not the most favorite thing to do, but just looking at it here, like, Kentucky hasn't finished games well. I mean, you go back to the Ole Miss game when they had a chance to win the football game, and then you go back to South Carolina where they really gave up the game in the second quarter. First quarter, Kentucky has played very, very good in. Now, they were up 7-0 on 10-0 on Ole Miss in that game, and they were up 10-7 against South Carolina, driving the ball down the field until the strip sack happened, and then they went and scored, and that really won them the football game. Georgia has not had these fast starts. You see it in their ranking. Kentucky ranks overall 14th, where they average 9.5 points per first quarter, almost 10 points a quarter. So, I mean, by the stats here, I'm not saying that the stats are always going to be right, but by the stats, quote unquote here, there's a chance Kentucky could be up by 3 at the end of the first quarter, and that's just what the stats are saying. I know that's not maybe realistic to say here with how both teams have been playing, but if you look at Georgia here, and this is such a pivotal thing for me for the Cats if they're going to win. If I were to give you, if we were to go back to this here, and I were to tell you the most important one for the Cats to win, if they weren't to do anything, if they didn't do anything else here, what would be the biggest keys to success for the Cats? And that would be get up by 14-17 before the halftime, right? And again, that goes back to, Georgia starting really, really slow so far, especially in SEC football games, and Kentucky starting pretty daggone good in SEC football games to this point. Look at the first quarter against Alabama. Alabama was up 7-0, right? And then you go to Georgia's game against Tennessee, where they were down. They were down. Oh gosh, I pulled up the wrong one here. Oh my goodness. I think they were down 21-7 in the first quarter. Yes, 21-7. So they have given up in SEC play in the first quarter combined a total of 28 points. I don't know if what that would average out to between the two, maybe around 14 or 15 points. And then you go look at Kentucky, right? So they're having these slow starts. Georgia is consistently getting down early, which is a good thing for the Cats. Now, they've been able to fight their way out of this, but it would give Kentucky the opportunity to control the game if they were to get up early. And that's the only way, to me, that they would be able to win or even be in this football game at the end. You look here, Kentucky, first SEC game of the year. They played Ole Miss at home, where they lost by a touchdown, 30-23. Kentucky started out this game 7-0 in the first quarter. They ended up taking the lead early in the second quarter, so it was 10-0 at basically the start of this game. They have lost both of their SEC games in the second quarter. 17 points given up by the Cats in the second quarter to the Ole Miss Rebels, and then they gave up a crap ton to South Carolina in the second quarter, 21. Kentucky has to have this fast start and sustain it in the second quarter. Kentucky has to win the first half. And if you looked back here at both of these games, Kentucky ended up winning the third quarter against South Carolina. They only scored a field goal. They didn't give up any points in the third quarter to the Gamecocks. And then if you go back to the Ole Miss game, goodness gracious, when you pull up, this is what is making me mad right now. When you pull up ESPN, and I have a vertical monitor, it is showing me, oh my goodness, it is showing me all the games, guys. Not ESPN, just Google, I think. It's showing me all the games, and it's making me so very mad. So I was bringing up years past games. I do not get it. Okay, right here. Kentucky lost the third quarter by 3, so 10-7 in the third quarter. This team has played good in the first quarter and in the third quarter. Kentucky, the most disappointing quarter that they've played all year is the second quarter, and it doesn't make sense. They just fall off repeatedly in the second quarter. I mean to say, the biggest thing for the Kentucky Wildcats, if they're going to get a win, have to have a very, very fast start and get up 2 to 3 touchdowns. 2 to 3 touchdowns. After that, if you were able to do that, you have to do this throughout the game anyways if you're going to win. You got to control tempo. These two teams are very, very similar in how they want to control the game and how they want the speed of the game to go. Both teams like to slow it down. So if Georgia is able to get an early lead, they are simply going to slow the game down. They're not going to let Kentucky have the possessions that they need to even be in this football game. Same thing goes for the Cats, but I would just say that Kentucky, if they were able to sustain that lead and get up that early, they would need to then slow everything down even more. Even if it was slow at that point, slow everything down more. Just continue to run the football and be very, very, very efficient in that thing. So control the football. These two teams are very, very similar in how they want to control the game speed-wise. Both want to slow it down. Both want to run the football. Yes, Georgia's going to take their shots. Kentucky's going to take their shots. I would say Georgia's probably going to throw it more than Kentucky, but teams very, very similar in that aspect. Moving on here, Kentucky has to win the turnover battle by 2. Whether this is 4-2 or 2-0, that would probably be the most. That would be what we would love to see is 2-0, but Kentucky has to win the turnover battle. They have to get extra possessions. They have to take multiple possessions away from Georgia if they're going to win this football game. That, to me, is very, very key, and we cannot turn the ball over in this game. We've seen when Kentucky does not turn the ball over, even if they do not play their best executionally or situationally, they have a chance to win, just like they did against Ole Miss. But when they turn the ball over and they give extra possessions to the other team, and they take possessions away from themselves, they get blown out against South Carolina. So this is definitely probably the second biggest one to me. You got to win the turnover battle by 2 in any sort of fashion. And then lastly, Cutter has to play his best game ever as a Kentucky Wildcat. That is the biggest thing. I mean, the passing game was just abysmal last week, so he has to play his best game ever in controlling this game, in controlling this offense, in hitting explosive plays downfield when he needs to do that, hitting the checkdowns, and just helping us stay ahead of the chains. And then so the running game can keep us in short down and distances, and then you be able to convert and help them in the progress that they've done for you. So those are my 4 biggest keys for a victory for the Cats. As you see here, get up about 14 to 17 points. You need to control the tempo. You need to win the turnover battle by 2. And Cutter has to play his best game ever in the uniform. Yes, this is so unrealistic for anybody to pick against Georgia in this game. They're historically very, very good at beating the Cats, but Kentucky's always been in this game just for some reason. So I don't see it being a blowout, and I'll get into just Kentucky always seems to play them well. I think just schematically, it lines up very, very well for the Cats just to be in this game. I do think the running game is going to be there. Again, unrealistic to say, hey, Cutter, you got to go play your best game against one of the best teams in all of college football in the Georgia Bulldogs. So I don't think that's fair to say at all. But what I would say is if we are going to win, he has to do that. We have to win the turnover battle by 2. We have to get an early big lead. And we have to control the tempo of the game. We have to. I'm going to go ahead and throw up my prediction for this game. And I would bet Kentucky to cover the spread. I went back through all these games. Kentucky's been in these games until the fourth quarter. I would say it's the same thing for this one. Give me the Dogs to win 28-14. Kentucky covers that huge 20.5 point spread. Kentucky covers that. Georgia wins the football game, but I think, even just with scoring 14 points, I think and I hope that this offense shows signs of life. It seems like Kendrick Law, we have figured out how to get him the football effectively and efficiently and in good ways. Same thing with Seth McGowan, Dante Dowdell. We have the run game figured out. We have to consistently get the ball. We've done good with our tight ends, but that is not enough for this offense. We have to get the ball to Jamori Macklin. They have to find a way to get the ball to him in open space. Every time we throw his way, good things happen. You get it to him. You get more explosive plays. The passing game opens up. The passing game is better. You get it to him. But I'm taking the Dogs 28-14 in this one. I think it's going to be closer than people obviously expect with a 20.5 point spread in this one. But give me Kentucky to cover that, but give me the Dogs to win. Kentucky has to have a crap ton of things go in their favor in this one, like a letdown from Georgia in their last game, them just obviously not playing very, very well, us playing the best game of the year up until this point so far, Cutter having the best game of his career, Kentucky winning the turnover battle by 2, and having such a fast start. So, yes, there are some things that line up really, really well with them not starting fast, with them maybe coming off of a letdown game, an early start for this one, us kind of flying under the radar. Things like that could swing in Kentucky's favor, but at the end of the day, Georgia's too talented and too big and too physical for the Cats. I do think we lose this game. This would be the type of game with the news surrounding Mark Stoops right now. This would be the type of game that he just goes out here and wins and then shuts them up for a couple of weeks. But I appreciate you guys coming here and listening to episode 76 here. Kentucky plays tomorrow. Be cheering for the Cats. Make sure to follow us on social media. Make sure you're missing extra content on there if you don't follow us on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Help us out here on YouTube and help us out on Spotify. And as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in into this one. And as always, go Cats. Check us out tomorrow morning, week 6 edition of Coffee Before College Football. So excited to have you guys on there. Be breaking down the biggest games of the Saturday slate. And we're not going to do a broadcast, but I will do a pregame show, halftime show, and a post-game show tomorrow for the game. Appreciate you guys coming on here. Those will all be live. Check in. Appreciate you guys coming on here, and as always, go Cats.